I'd like to show you our creative color grading pack called Lucid Dream. We've created a group of 3D LUT profiles that do really cool color changes to different tonal areas in your image. We're going all the way around the color wheel using different hues and applying them to different tonal areas, including the highlights, mids, and shadows, so you get a lot of different effects for your images. These profiles live equally in both Adobe Camera Raw and Lightroom. I'm going to be using the Lightroom workflow. I'm going to open my first image in Develop. As you can see, this image is pretty dark. I wouldn't say it's necessarily underexposed, but I'm going to crank it up just a bit. Open up the shadows, black's a touch, and there's a little bit of heat on her face and the highlights. Whites I'm going to bring down just a bit. And I think overall I'm just going to open up the exposure a touch. That's it. My balancing moves are really quick. That's all you need to do to be able to see what your profiles are doing. Opening up into the browser, mine will maybe look a little different than yours because I've simplified it for the demo. But I've got Adobe Color here. I can always mouse over to see my before. Moving into the first look called Clarity, we can immediately see what this grade is doing. It's lifting the blacks and pushing some hue into the darks and light areas of the image. Luminous amps that up a bit, a little bit more saturation. Glow mutes that a bit. Vivid is cooler. Radiant, back into the purples. Lustrous, a little more green. Effulgent, introducing a bit more of a split tone. Some warmth in the highlights. Skin still looking nice. Beaming. I really like what that's doing in the background to the green. It's really desaturating the background and keeping the skin tones still in a believable range. Crystal, really cool, split tone again. And Burnished, doing an overall desaturated treatment to the image while keeping some warmth in the skin tones. I liked a couple of these looks. Vivid, like the warmth in the skin and the coolness in the background there. But I want to compare that with Beaming. I'm going to reduce the amount a bit. You can see right off, I've got a great look for this really dark image in just a couple steps. I want to take a look at what these do to an image that's in a completely different contrast ratio. Opening up the next image, you can see what I mean. This is a completely different image, and the versatility of this pack is fantastic. It can work on this image too. It's going to work in slightly different ways, and I'm not going to do any balancing before I jump right in, start exploring this. Clarity right off is applying a really cool look here. I love what's happening in the skin tones and the hair and the shirt with that pink, really desaturated background. You can see, that's the wonderful thing about this little browser here with these thumbnails, is I can see all of the different variations we've put together just at one glance, all together, all of the different hues that we've tuned for this look. So moving on to Luminous, Glow, that's cool, nice rosy tones. Vivid, pushing some cool hues into the midtones. Radiant, Radiant's awesome. I really like what's happening in the lighter areas. It's pushing a touch of green in there, I think. The dark areas are purple-red. Lustrous, Effulgent. It's a nice, more kind of classic look. Beaming's cool. It's keeping those pinks, but turning everything else really cool. Crystal. And Burnished. That's a really nice, subtle, desaturated look with Burnish, but I really liked Radiant. Now, you can see how restrained this whole look is, and that's how we've developed this pack. These aren't huge changes that we're making to the image. We're really staying true to the original. So if you actually want something that's a bit more dramatic, the great thing about this amount slider is you can crank up the look to really high volume to get a completely different effect out of these really subtle looks. I like Radiant, maybe backed off a bit, and I'm going to bring back a little bit of the natural skin tones, and really quickly I've got a fantastic look, and now I can choose to exit out and start editing in Photoshop.